He's here.
If you're tired of the same predictable horror movies and want something darker, more disturbing, and way more savage, you're in for a nightmare. Let's dive into 10 brutal hidden horror gems you've probably never seen, but won't forget anytime soon. Number 10. Dark Was the Night.
Someone's in the backyard.
In the quiet, snow-covered town of Maiden Woods, something ancient stirs in the trees. After a logging crew disturbs a remote forest, strange tracks appear, livestock vanish, and the townspeople grow restless with fear. Directed by Jack Heller, Dark Was the Night is a slow-burn creature feature that draws its power from isolation and dread. Sheriff Paul Shields, still haunted by personal tragedy, must face a primal terror lurking just beyond the tree line. Something not entirely human and entirely hungry. With its bleak setting, creeping suspense, and shadowy menace, the film builds a chilling atmosphere that tightens like a noose. Number 9, we go on.
I'd like to offer $30,000 to the first person that can show me definitive proof of life after death.
You're starting to believe me.
I believe you.
Miles Grissom is paralyzed by fear, not of heights, not of death, but of what comes after. Desperate for peace, he offers a cash reward to anyone who can prove the existence of an afterlife. What follows is a chilling odyssey through dark hallways, eerie roadside motels, and the razor-thin veil between life and the beyond. Co-directed by Jesse Holland and Andy Mitten, We Go On blends paranormal dread with emotional resonance, where grief becomes a gateway to something much darker. The fear here creeps in slowly, tightening its grip as the truth unravels. There are no demons or monsters, only voices from the other side, and a haunting realization that knowing the answer may be worse than the question. Number 8, you might be the killer.
I hate to ask you this, but are you sure you're not the killer?
When camp counselor Sam calls his horror movie-obsessed friend Chuck in a panic, drenched in blood and surrounded by corpses, one question hangs in the air. What if he is the killer? As the two piece together the grisly events at Camp Clear Vista, slasher tropes collide with self-aware terror in this darkly comedic bloodbath. Directed by Brett Simmons, the film is a meta-horror gem that slashes through genre cliches with wicked glee. It's a clever dance of memory loss, cursed masks, and brutal kills where the line between victim and villain dissolves in a frenzy of gore. Equal parts satire and slasher, it weaponizes horror fan knowledge and turns it into a chilling guessing game drenched in campfire carnage. Number 7, Tony. Tony is a reclusive loner who struggles to interact with the world around him, drifting through life in a haze of social anxiety and quiet desperation. But behind his timid demeanor lies a chilling secret. Tony is a serial killer, hiding his crimes in plain sight as he searches the streets for his next victim. Directed by Gerard Johnson, Tony is a grim character study of a socially awkward recluse whose loneliness curdles into something monstrous. The horror here is intimate, raw, and disturbingly mundane. There are no jump scares, just the slow, suffocating dread of watching a man unravel in plain sight. With every visit to his home, every awkward conversation, the unease thickens like smoke. Number 6, P2. On Christmas Eve, Angela's late night at the office turns into a nightmare when she finds herself locked inside the underground parking garage. Alone, or so she thinks. A seemingly helpful security guard named Thomas soon reveals a twisted obsession, turning the silent concrete tomb of level P2 into a trap lined with fear. Directed by Frank Kalfoun, the film transforms holiday cheer into claustrophobic terror, where the cold fluorescent lights and echoing footsteps become instruments of dread. With every passing minute, the garage becomes a prison, the shadows deeper, the escape routes fewer. It's a cat-and-mouse thriller soaked in tension, where survival depends on wit, will, and whatever sharp object you can find. Sometimes the real horror waits in the places we think are safest. Number 5, Backcountry. ventures into the remote Canadian wilderness for a romantic camping trip, but their journey quickly turns into a harrowing fight for survival. Lost, unprepared, and stalked by a territorial black bear, they must rely on instinct as nature turns brutally unforgiving. Directed by Adam McDonald, the film is a visceral descent into man versus wild terror, grounded in realism and stripped of safety. The lush forest becomes a labyrinth of danger, where every rustle in the underbrush could be the last sound you hear. There are no supernatural elements, just raw, predatory fear that tears through the calm like claws through flesh. It's a true-to-life nightmare that reminds us the woods don't care who you are. Number 4, Cold Skin.
Use your gun!
A young weather official arrives at a desolate island near the Antarctic Circle, expecting isolation, but what he finds is far more terrifying. Each night, the lighthouse he shares with a grizzled veteran becomes a fortress besieged by mysterious amphibious creatures from the sea. Directed by Xavier Gens, Cold Skin is a chilling blend of Lovecraftian horror and existential dread, where the line between man and monster blurs under endless gray skies. The film drips with atmosphere, soaked in salt water, loneliness, and blood as survival forces unthinkable choices. It's not just the creatures that are inhuman. It's what the cold, the fear, and the dark can do to the soul. Number 3, Unsane.
I'm not crazy! He's here.
Or maybe it's all in my head.
Sawyer Valentini relocates to escape a relentless stalker, but her fresh start turns to terror when she's involuntarily committed to a mental institution. Inside, she begins to question her sanity as she sees her stalker among the staff. But is it delusion or a living nightmare? Directed by Steven Soderbergh and shot entirely on an iPhone, Unsane traps the viewer in a world of clinical horror and psychological claustrophobia. Every fluorescent hallway, every padded room pulses with paranoia, blurring the line between reality and madness. With cold detachment and raw immediacy, the film peels back the terror of being dismissed, unheard, and utterly powerless. Number 2, Calibre.
The police, it'll be considered murder. We go to that town, we come back here tonight. You have no choice.
2 lifelong friends head into the remote Scottish Highlands for a hunting trip, but one horrific mistake turns their weekend into a waking nightmare. As paranoia rises and the locals close in, they're forced to confront just how far they'll go to survive and what they're willing to live with afterward. Directed by Matt Palmer, Calibre is a tense, slow-burning descent into moral horror, where the real terror isn't monsters in the woods, but the human capacity for ruin. The dense forest becomes a suffocating prison, and every decision cuts deeper than the last. With every step toward escape, the weight of guilt grows heavier, and there's no clean way out. Number 1, I Saw the Devil. When secret agent Kim Soo-hyun's fiancée is brutally murdered by a sadistic serial killer, vengeance becomes his only mission. But instead of ending the monster's life, he captures and releases him again and again, turning revenge into a prolonged, merciless game. The film is a relentless, soul-crushing masterpiece of psychological and physical horror. It drags the viewer through a nightmarish cycle of torment, where justice rots into obsession and the line between hero and villain dissolves in blood. The violence is unflinching, the pacing merciless, and the atmosphere drenched in dread. In this haunting descent, the true horror isn't what's done to the killer. It's what revenge does to a man. Here are 4 other movies you have to see. I Sell the Dead.
That's where the real money was. Came across all many things after that. You had run-ins with a crowd of lunatics called the House of Mirth.
In the shadowy alleys of 18th century England, grave robbers Arthur and Willie make a living digging up corpses until the dead start returning with secrets of their own. What begins as petty theft soon leads to encounters with vampires, ghouls, and other nightmarish entities. As they sink deeper into the world of the undead, profit turns to peril. Sleep tight. Cesar is a concierge in a quiet Barcelona apartment building where he masks deep, festering hatred behind a polite smile. Obsessed with one of his cheerful tenants, he begins infiltrating her life in secret, turning her happiness into his personal battlefield. Citadel.
We're gonna make it through this.
After After his wife is killed by a gang of faceless hooded youths, agoraphobic Tommy is left to raise his infant daughter alone in a decaying housing complex. But the attackers were no ordinary kids. They're something far darker, and they're not done with him yet. As Tommy is pushed to the edge of madness, he must confront the monsters both outside and within. Crush.
I just can't help myself. You make it look so easy.
High school athlete Scott seems to have it all, until he realizes someone is watching his every move. What starts as harmless admiration spirals into obsession, violence, and deadly mind games. As the stalker closes in, Scott must untangle the truth before his life unravels completely. Love hurts, especially when it won't take no for an answer.